Hey guys, it's Sean with It's Teen Time 2010. This week's topic is on suicide and self-harm, I believe. I was kind of surprised by this topic. I really wasn't sure where to take it or what to talk about. But I'll do my best to go ahead and cover this subject. Oh man, this car's blinding me. Switch. So, when I was in high school, I was about 14 years old. Freshman year, I was horribly depressed. I didn't really know what depression was, but I do remember feeling like there was just this cloud just hanging over my head all the time, just traveling with me wherever I went. It really didn't matter what I did. I just never really felt, very happy, genuinely happy without some kind of censored screen over it. And this was due to the fact that most of my friends out of middle school had went to a different high school, and a new high school had been built in my area, actually completely out of the district. It took me 20 minutes just to get to school. It was obnoxious, even though there was a school that was 4 minutes away from where I lived. So I didn't have friends at this new school. Ethnicity-wise, it was predominantly Asian and white. My first 2 years of high school, I hung out with all the Asian kids. My best friend was Vietnamese, and I just hung out with her friends. And the first time I started to self-harm, I used a knife. I became a cutter. Would spend hours just digging into myself or into my skin, and I'd say the deepest cuts I have are about a ½ inch. I never used razors or anything like that, and if I tried to do it now, I don't think I'd be able to do it, just because I'm in a completely different state of mind, but also because back then I was almost numb to it. It was almost like, it kind of hurt, but I didn't really feel it. It gave me this sense of adrenaline and this sense of strength, like I could do anything and I could handle anything. And inside, really, I was just falling apart. And a lot of it had to do with, the social situation, but it also had to do with my family. Mostly the relationship that I had with my mom, who adopted me, by the way. She's actually my aunt, because she has a lot of different ailments that she deals with, and that affected her mood, and in turn affected me. And when I think back on it now, I guess I can't really say that it was all her. She definitely did have personality traits that clashed with mine a lot, and the way that she raised me is actually very different from what I think comes naturally for me. And that just really created a lot of internal turmoil for me. So I did a lot of cutting, especially when she would tell me that there are certain people that I couldn't hang out with, or certain people that she didn't like, and that made it worse, because a lot of these people, I would say at least 2 people that I really did like, I actually had a crush on, and I was just like seriously head over heels for, so that didn't make it any better. And I also did a lot of the injury because I was at this inner conflict with myself. I couldn't accept that I liked the same sex. At the time, I hadn't come to realize, or actually rather, I hadn't come to accept or even begin to think of being trans, because that just, to even claim myself as being gay was just such a huge step for me, that I don't even think I could have fathomed to be trans. I don't think I would have been able to handle it at all. So being different and being in the LGBT community without the community, that was hard, and that's just how I coped with it. I just figured I could take it. That means that I'm strong, that's basically all it was, a testament of my strength to prove my mom wrong, to prove everybody else wrong. I don't know, I guess it kind of made me feel more like a man in a way. As far as self-injury goes, that's a really nasty habit to pick up. I think it's almost like the equivalent of picking up smoking or some kind of, any kind of product that can be abused just because you get in the habit of it. Some people, they kind of fiend for it. It's almost scary. It's almost becomes like an addiction. There was a point in my cutting when that's all I could think about, and I would carry a knife with me, and you know, that wasn't the only thing I did. I used to stick safety pins in my arms and staples, and I stitched my skin with thread before. Like, I mean, when I think back on it now, I'd be like, damn, crazy, but it's actually quite surprising how high the self-harm rate has gone up. It wasn't that uncommon. So there are people that burn themselves, pull out their hair, hit walls, things like that. I mean, I understand you can do what you gotta do to let out that rage or feel like you're in control or get that adrenaline rush, but ultimately you leave scars behind, and it kind of sucks. I have scars on my arm that will never go away, and I forget about them, and I'm lucky that I'm actually pretty tan, so after a couple of years they kind of just blend in and I really don't pay attention to them anymore. But every now and then I get these little kids that always ask me, hey, what happened? And I'm always I don't know what to tell them. They're so small, you know. At the same time embarrassed, because when the adults are around, they're kind of like, yeah, what the heck happened? You know, it's like, you know, what do I say? Yeah, I don't want them to think I'm crazy, because, you know, that was just a point in my life, and you know, maybe I was a little offbeat, you know, in that sense. I obviously didn't make smart choices. So if you guys feel any of those needs, the best thing I could do is recommend take up a sport, take up a hobby that'll let that energy or get out that adrenaline. Find yourself a community, find yourself therapy. It doesn't have to be with a therapist necessarily. Just something that will keep you from physically harming yourself. And I think what could be worse than that is harming others. So if that's another route you guys are going, you guys have that much anger in you or unsatisfaction or you're unhappy, again, maybe something more physical outdoor activities would be best. You know, just do it, because you really don't want to go down that route. You know, you don't. I mean, I guess you could make for like an interesting story, you know, like, well, back in the day, you know, I did this, but you don't want to risk getting so caught up in something that it just becomes like an addiction or a habit, you know. I could have went either way. I could have become a pothead or an alcoholic, you know. And if you have an obsessive personality, I really don't recommend doing any of those things, you know. It's in that case, you know, you're more susceptible to getting caught up. So, you know, that's my little tidbit on self-harm, self-injury. And I guess I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.